Welcome to our beloved community at Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Pete, Compliments of Soul Matters. Welcome to this month. We're exploring the many ways our UU faith invites us to become a people of a beloved community. Beloved community is a special way of community. It has multiple characteristics. In our classes this month, online of course, we will focus on 4 of those characteristics. Beloved community is a special kind of community where Black leaders are honored. That's lesson A in Anti-Racism in Black History Month. Love grows beyond boundaries. Lesson B in Valentine's Day. Wounds are healed. Lesson C in Anti-Racism. We don't run away when things get hard. Lesson D, Anti-Racism. Now, while searching for the right stories for these 4 lenses, as quoted by Katy on behalf of the entire Soul Matters team, she was excited to find the story called John Lewis Preaching to the Chickens. Backyard chickens have made a comeback in her neighborhood, and she admitted that conversing with the girls, she'd rather help gather eggs. She could imagine this fine man as a boy preaching to his chickens with his emerging sense of justice and call to action. Now, I hope we all are able to enjoy this as we honor these peoples and stories which move us towards a beloved community. May you also find healing and a deep sense of wholeness from this work. Please tune in every Sunday at 11:30 on youtube.com/UU St. Pete. You can reach me here at re@uustpete.org. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Miss Trish. I'm one of the RE teachers for UU St. Petersburg, and I'm here with the lesson for the 7th of February 2021. This lesson is called Where Black Leaders Are Honored. February is Black History Month, in which we celebrate the achievements of people of African descent. I'll light the chalice and start the lesson. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. When we think about beloved community, we can't help but to reflect on the work of groups like Black Lives of UU, also known as BLUU, and the group called Diverse Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries, or DRUUM. With the dedicated leadership of these groups, UU White Supremacy is being called out and challenged. We're gaining insights into our faith from these and other leaders of color about how to journey into multicultural wholeness. So what's one of the ways our faith guides us into becoming a people of beloved community? It tells us to honor your Black leaders. So, what does the acronym BLUU stand for and DRUUM? We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I've got a lot of acronyms here that you probably recognize. I've got AM, PM, SUV, PS, RSVP, and GIF. AM actually means ante-meridian, or before midday, and PM means post-meridian, or after midday. SUV is a sports utility vehicle. PS means postscript, something you write after the main body of a letter or another written communication. RSVP means please respond, or Répondez-vous, s'il vous plaît, in French. And GIF, which is one of those funny little pictures that we attach on a text or in an email, means a graphic interface format. There are lots of acronyms we use every day, like FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, UU, Unitarian Universalism, LOL, Laugh Out Loud, LGBTQ, which is lesbian, gay, bi, trans, and either queer or questioning, and USA, United States of America. So there are some other ones you can probably guess what they stand for, and you hear them all the time, like NASA. Do you know what it means? National Aeronautics and Space Administration. And in school, you might hear about STEM, S-T-E-M. Yes, it means science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And some schools have a variation of that, which is called STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So those letters together are called acronyms, and they're an abbreviation that sounds like a word, and it stands for a bunch of other words, so you don't have to say the whole thing. For example, when I was preparing for this lesson, I learned that the word scuba, like in scuba diving, is actually an acronym. It stands for Self-Contained Underwater Breathing Apparatus. Good thing we don't have to say that whole thing if we want to talk about scuba diving. This month's theme is Beloved Community. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was one of the people that helped us all to understand this important idea and dream. Dr. King imagined a beloved community as a society based on justice, equity, peace, and love of the entire world community. In our Unitarian Universalist religion, there are acronyms in beloved community work that are important to know and honor. And that's because these groups are working for a just and whole world without racism. They're showing the way, and we want to honor them. The first acronym we'll talk about is called AROMAC, or ARAOMC, and that stands for Anti-Racism, Anti-Oppression, Multicultural. And people say AROMAC to pronounce it. The next one that we're going to talk about, well, actually we have three more that we'll talk about that are important in AROMAC work. And one of them is DRUUMM, and we pronounce it DRUUMM. That stands for Diverse Revolutionary UU Multicultural Ministries. It's a collective of people who identify as people of color working together to overcome racism through resistance and to transform Unitarian Universalism through multicultural experiences. Then there's BLUU, which is Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, and it's pronounced like the color blue. BLUU is a group of people that came together out of a need for spiritual connection and commitment to creating a more just and loving world for Black people. They developed the 7 principles of the Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, which is their take on the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. And they introduced this, the 8th principle. And this is it. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. And we've included a link if you want to learn more about BLUU. And there's a third acronym that's important to this work, and it's called ARE, which is Allies for Racial Equality. And these are white folks who support the AROMAC goals and want to help DRUUMM and BLUU. All of these folks are working hard to help everyone understand how to make Unitarian Universalism an AROMAC community, which is an anti-racism, anti-oppression, multicultural faith, and a beloved community. There are folks in our congregation who attend Thrive Leadership School for youth and young adults of color, or the Well Family Camp, a virtual 2020 UU General Assembly that was involved in DRUUMM, BLUU, or ARE. If you know anyone who's participated in any of these groups, you could ask them about their experiences. Several Black leaders have a special date in the month of February, which is why it originally started out as, it was called Negro Week or Negro Accomplishments Week. I don't remember which. And that started back in the 20s, and it evolved until the 1960s when it became a whole month, and they later changed the name to Black History Month. We've chosen a number of storybooks to go with each special observance to give you options. So click on the links we included to learn more about those Black leaders. And I'm going to read you a short one about Malcolm X, who was very important in the Black equality movement. Here today, we're going to have fun learning about Black history and a man named Malcolm X. With Black history in the United States, many African Americans mention Malcolm X. Do you know who Malcolm X is? Malcolm X was an African American civil rights activist and minister. Right now, we'll learn a little bit about his life. Malcolm X was born Malcolm Little on May the 19th, 1925 in Omaha, Nebraska. Malcolm was the fourth of 8 children born to Louise, a homemaker, and Earl Little, a preacher. His father spoke out against racism and was often picked on by a group called the Ku Klux Klan. It was so bad that the Littles had to move from Omaha, and his father was later found murdered. After the death of Malcolm's father, Malcolm's mother became very sick, and she could no longer take care of her children. And this is when Malcolm and his siblings were placed in foster care. Seeing all this in his young life, Malcolm would get into trouble later on, finding himself in a juvenile detention center, and then later finding himself in prison after getting into trouble. It was there that his life would change when he discovered a religion known as Islam. After choosing the religion of Islam and joining the Nation of Islam, Malcolm Little would soon change his name to Malcolm X, where he would go on to become a well-known leader in the Nation of Islam. During this time, another African American civil rights activist was Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Although Dr. King spoke out about peaceful protests, Malcolm X was known for saying, "by any means necessary," and "you don't have to have a peaceful revolution. when he spoke out against racism. Malcolm X would later leave the Nation of Islam and become a traditional Muslim, where he changed his name to El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Malcolm X's life came to an end after he was assassinated on February the 21st, 1965, in New York City, New York. So that's all for now, and I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit about Malcolm X. We've included some links that you can learn about Rosa Parks. You can learn about John Lewis, and you can learn where to buy the books if you'd like to, and more about the BLUU group. So I'm going to sign off for now and hand the microphone to Miss Jeanay, who will finish the service. Thank you for joining me here today. I love you all. Namaste. See you next time.
I invite you to move into our meditation position. Sit comfortably in your chair or on the floor. Put your hands on your lap or on your knees. Sit up nice and tall and focus your eyes in front of you. Find your breath, breathing in your body by taking in one breath in through your nose and slowly breathing it out of your mouth.